proposals. And Professor Fred Ogola is joining us live. Prof is a governance and policy analyst, and we want to talk about the contentious finance bill. Good evening, Prof.
Good evening, Maria. How are you doing? And how is KUTV doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. I trust that you are doing well. Now, we will dive right into it, Prof. President William Ruto, well, he has assented this finance bill into law. Now, the opposing groups, that is yourselves, that is the Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO and the Azimio One Kenya coalition, are against it. So what reservations do you hold?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that what Kenyans need to know is that 93% of Kenyans oppose this bill. Mm-hmm. Yet MPs voted and passed this bill. Mm-hmm. So we're asking ourselves that has Parliament lost their oversight role and become now an arm of the executive? Mm-hmm. Have they lost the representation they have with the people, and now they are representing the president? Because if 93% of Kenyans reject this bill and they don't like it, I saw memoranda coming from KEPSA, from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, even us, Operation Indogatuzi, Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO, many civil society organizations presented memoranda and said that this bill was bad for the Kenyans people, bad for the economy. Mm-hmm. How comes Parliament went and passed this bill? So that's one question we're having. Mm-hmm. The second question we're having is that Mr. President had known that this bill is not good for Kenyans, and it's opposite to his manifesto. How comes he went on to assent to the bill? Because by assenting to this bill, mm-hmm. he has lost legitimacy, because the people of Kenya gave him the legal mandate to rule them. Mm-hmm. How comes he has acted against them? Mm-hmm. This bill, people are saying, is going to increase jobs. Even look at the house levy, for example, if you look at it. They have talked about people are selling mabati and steel. Mm-hmm. We have projected as Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO and Operation Indogatuzi mm-hmm. that 2 million jobs will be lost. Why can't the president explain to us where these 2 million jobs are going to come from in affordable housing? And we are talking about 2 million permanent jobs. Mm-hmm. How can we lose 2 million permanent jobs to regain less than that number, which are casual jobs? Mm-hmm. That's my concern. The capital flight we are talking about here, we have seen, mm-hmm. The capital flight is around 1.2 trillion, which is capital flight given this taxation being brought in place. Uh-huh. The Kenya Kwanza government says that they are taxing people so that we can live off taxes and not borrow money. Mm-hmm. But in actual sense, they are borrowing more and then adding to high taxation, and this money is being used for plunder. So what we called today, our main statement was that mm-hmm. we are going to close down Parliament. There is an act that allows us to ask Parliament to dissolve because they have failed to do their mandate. Mm-hmm. And we are asking the president to lower the cost of living by 7th of July, which is Sabasaba. Mm-hmm. If not, we shall start the action. We have gathered all the civil society bodies under the umbrella Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO, and we are going to go for action. We are no longer just talking, because this bill is going to hurt people for sure. Jobs will be lost. Mm-hmm. Look at the time when electricity was for 1,000 shillings in September before mm-hmm. he took over. For 1,000 shillings, you could get 61 units. Mm-hmm. Now for 1,000 shillings, you are getting 31 units.
Prof, before
we are looking at the cost of hunger, we are looking at the cost of fuel. So we are concerned that the economy is going the wrong direction, mm-hmm. and we have to act, and we are going to act now.
All right, Prof, when you say that 93% of Kenyans are against this finance bill, and we are aware that the government said that it engaged the public with this public participation in this finance bill. So how did you reach your estimation, this 93%?
We've done surveys. The surveys are out there. And the president has stopped the media even from publishing opinion polls. they have just, look at what's happening in the fight between the executive and the media. We even find that completely reckless. Because let me tell you what, the Public Act talks about the issue of public officers that must act with democracy, in line with the Constitution, must act with integrity. The insults that Moses Kuria made to the media completely shows us that the democracy dies in darkness. That's what I'm trying to say. Dies in darkness, meaning that if the media cannot be allowed to echo their voices, democracy is dead. The media is the fourth estate. Why are they called fourth estate? The first estate is the public sector. The second estate is the private sector. The third estate is we, civil society, NGOs. And the fourth estate is the media to report what happens in the three estates. Now, if the media is being told they cannot be able to find freedom, now they are fighting the media. For us, we are believing that they are not allowed the media to publish reports. Don't you think, my dear, that we have done opinion polls, but they cannot be published in the media? The media has been gagged. In fact, Citizen did a news item talking about news gag, and they said they are being gagged. What we are trying to tell the president, you won the election. You were legitimately sworn in office. Accept that and move on. We are telling Raila Odinga, you lost the election. Accept that and move on. And what does that mean? Raila Odinga should accept and start putting legislation as a head of opposition to make the government to check in parliament, check the government in judiciary, check the government using the legal means that exist. We don't want mandameno. The moving on for Kenya Kwanza is that you won the election. Deliver to your mandate. Execute your manifesto. Lower the cost of living. Ensure people can access goods of life like education and the rest. Stop telling us about how much money you found in the coffers. Tell us how much, what you're doing and how much money you're collecting. We have been asking for an audit of our debt because I can tell you, Kenyans' debt is being expounded very high. It is not what it is. There must be theft and plunder in the in this government, and we want those things to be done. Not that cheating us, that there was no money, over borrowing, and yet we are not seeing him paying much. So we want the president. Yes. We want the president to come out. Say yes.
You have accused Azimio of not protecting Kenyans in these times with this finance bill, but yet it has organized a rally tomorrow that is at the Kamukunji grounds. What do you make of that statement?
What I know is we wait tomorrow and see what will be the outcome of that rally, and I can predict it will be all about, hey, we will do this. According to us, Operation Gatuzi and Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO, we have sponsored bills in the court of law to challenge the illegalities that are in the finance bill. We are going to table that bill this week. Instead of going to the Kamukunji rally, there are other means that have worked. Kenya, as Azimio said, they were going to act and remove the president from State House. They made a lot of mayhem. Some people died. Loss of property was done. We have not seen them remove the president from State House. So what is it they're going to do new in Kamukunji? For us, we want to follow the legal means to ensure we stop there. Remember that Operation Gatuzi has gone to court on 16 occasions. Hustler Fund, we have stopped. The theft of money using the unique personal identifier, UPI, we have gone to court. And we have served the Attorney General, Minister of Interior. We have served those people. In fact, we are calling on Moses Kuria. We are calling on Linturi. They should leave office for investigation because around 10 billion shillings have been lost in the oil deal. These are very clear things. For us, we don't want to go and make noise on the street. Their elections are over. We are using the legal means. And I would urge Raila Odinga, with all due respect, that this is not the time to keep us in election mood. We need to run the government. We want the president to succeed. And that's why we're putting pressure on him to do the right thing. We need Raila Odinga to join us in that battle of making the president do the right thing. Going to Kamukunji is not right. And I don't think we gain anything from Azimio mass action. If there's something we gain, tell me what. Because they went to mass action to say to lower cost of living. The finance bill has passed. It will increase cost of living. So we cannot continue doing what is not working. And I sympathize with them. And that's why we said as Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO that unfortunately, the Azimio MPs cannot be able to give the right channel competition in parliament. And the fact that there's still no numbers that Kenya Kwanza has, that's why we are going to fight on how can we bring down this parliament to listen to Kenyans' plight.
Now, there was room to submit proposals to Parliament. And Prof, did Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO submit proposals to Parliament before this bill was passed?
Yes, actually, we can share with the memorandum, which showed Kenya Kwanza how to have the 3.6 trillion budget without this finance bill. It is as clear as you get it. For example, remember that we have a proposal that EACC has in their website that Kenya loses 608 billion shillings annually to corruption, which now has hit 700 billion. The question is, instead of increasing taxes on Kenyans to make them poor, why don't you just stop that corruption? In fact, we are calling upon Bishop Ogide, the chair of EACC. We want him to resign. Because EACC was there to stop corruption. He publishing us how much money we are using and with no strategy, no means at all to stop that corruption. Corruption must be preventive. We cannot be post-mortem running, stopping corruption using post-mortem that we have lost X amount of money, we have lost. We don't want to know how much we have lost. We want to know how much have we prevented and how much money is being recovered. So another thing, if you forget about it, we said that to increase taxes as an economist, there's what you call denominator and numerator. So you can either expand the tax at the bottom, or you can increase taxes upwards. The president has said to increase taxes, yet by putting more money on people's pockets, by ensuring more people can afford food, education, healthcare, you can actually end up having the same amount of taxes you need to collect. Now look at now NHIF. By adding those figures, who will afford those figures? Kenyans are already overburdened. It cannot work, my dear. In fact, we have given a memorandum how to do it. Remember that public participation in this bill, there was nothing. There was no public participation, I can tell you. What I know is that whenever Kenyans ask intelligent questions, they were told we have numbers in parliament. So there was no intellectual discussion with the Kenyans on what exactly is the solution. The issue was that we have numbers which shall pass it without a comma. And they have done what they said. They have passed an illegitimate bill, a draconian bill, and that bill is going to hurt our future generation. Why do you want to build houses where you put money on concrete and remove money from people's heads? Remember, he has defunded higher education. He has defunded education, remove more money. Even counties were supposed to receive 408 billion. Now they're receiving 385 billion. And MPs have passed a budget cut of 38 billion from counties. They are crumbling counties. So these are things that are not supposed to be joked around with, because the impact of this will be great.
Prof, when you say that you as Kenya BORA TUITAKAYO, you're going to close parliament, and the bill has already been passed, how legal is that at this point in time? Is that going to help in any way?
Actually, what happens normally as a process, you cannot take the president in court before the bill is assented, because he could actually reject it and take it back to parliament. So if you run to court before he assents the bill, it's premature. We have been gathering data after data. In fact, we saw how the bill has mutated, because first of all, remember the house levy was supposed to be a contribution, then it was supposed to be, I don't know what, then now it's a tax. So we challenge it, calling it a tax. Now that the president has assented it, we can challenge, and there's legal for challenging it now that has been signed to law. Remember that There are some other means you can challenge, but this actually can be challenged in court. And we have given the provision on which you can challenge a presidential assented bill into law. And it is still room for this challenge. But the one that Okiya Mtata did, those are political gimmicks. I saw Azimio also saying they are preparing a petition to go to court, but now they are going to Kamukunji. I don't really trust that they are going to do something about the legal means. But for us, we will go to court and challenge it, and we shall address the media that day to explain to them what are our positions about it. And on Sabasaba, if our plea is not taken seriously, we are going to gather the civil society to go to parliament. In fact, there are so many ways have been done before. Burkina Faso put a parliament to fire. So I'm not saying we're going to put parliament to fire, but if the worst comes to the worst, we can contemplate the worst we can do, because if parliament is the place to be legitimize evil, where things which are illegal are being legalized in parliament, people who have stolen Kenyans' money are being vetted in parliament and given positions, taxes which are illegal are being vetted in parliament to be collected, then parliament actually the epicenter of corruption and the epicenter of cleansing illegal and corrupt people. And we can't take it clearly. Parliament should be a place that serves the interests of Kenyans. The parliamentarians are elected by Kenyans, and they should not represent the interests of the president. They should be representing the interests of the Kenyan people. And the threats that came from Kenya Kwanza, from MPs, or if you don't vote for this tax bill, we'll ensure that there's no development fund in your county, those ones are not supposed to be done. In fact, the president simply is trying to lose legitimacy when he says that. And that's why for us, we don't want to act against the president. Parliament passed this bill. Let us bring the war to parliament.
All right. Now, Prof, analysts say that President William Ruto and the government should be given time to prove to Kenyans that what they have in place is indeed making sense. And maybe, do you think that this year he has a way of deviating from the normal way that the other governments have been running, and maybe this is going to turn around the economy?
Yeah, by the way, this is the biggest shock ever. If you're given a patient who is in general ward, then all of a sudden the patient goes to high dependency unit. Then before you realize the patient goes to ICU, you are still waiting for the doctor to help your patient. This is what the president will be doing. I told you when they took over, 1,000 shillings gave you 61 units of electricity. We have now gone double, whereby 1,000 gives you 31 units. Are you still waiting? And we are telling the president that even Mwai Kibaki won the election with 60.2% of the votes. But he never ruled us with an iron fist. He listened to us. Now, this 50.2% win, how can it be like you are ruling us as if you have won 90% of the votes? Remember, the election of President William Ruto is still being questioned by the opposition. And if we disagree with that, we don't want to go to election. He has been in office legally. We are simply saying that somebody who narrowly won an election should rule with some prudence, by realizing that we need to listen to Kenyans. And how much time are we giving you when you are borrowing a lot of money? Corruptions are serious. The Minister of Interior has serious corruption. In fact, the budget is the best tool to steal money from people. And we point out, the money for unique person identified, the UPR project, is 11.5 billion. If you add to the previous money spent there for 6.5 billion, we are talking about 17.5 billion shillings, which have been passed in the budget, which will be implemented. Now, we are still waiting for him to turn around the economy, while what we are seeing is that he's spending money in plunder. Look at the ministers I mentioned. Corruption is galore. The Minister of Interior is the most corrupt ministry according to EACC, followed by Ministry of Health. Look at KEMSA. So you are still waiting, yet some people are suspended, then everything went quiet. How much money has been recovered from corruption which took place in KEMSA? So we're trying to say that we cannot wait for forever. You cannot wait for sheep in an airport.
All right, Prof, thank you so much. Because of time, I want us to wrap it up at that. We appreciate your time and your input on this topic. Now, we are taking a very short break. At this point, we'll be coming back with sports. Stay with us.